Enots Engineering by Melon. In today's video I'm making some modifications to my dial indicator holder which I use on the lathe. It's just a block of steel, holds a dial indicator, and I find it useful for checking whether your parts are running out or not. So I'll make some improvements to this. I made it about 2 years ago and I use it all the time on the lathe. So a few modifications make it even better. So let's go into the workshop, see how we do it. Sometimes I have a problem with my dial indicator holder. The problem is I can't get close enough to the part that I want to measure because this will hit the chuck jaws. So you end up twisting it round and moving it in that way to try and miss the jaws and contact the workpiece. But with a dial indicator at an angle, it'll give you a false reading. So what I'm looking at is modifying the end of the dial indicator holder to overcome that problem. So this is my dial indicator holder. If I take the dial indicator out, I have a grub screw in the end to hold the dial indicator, which clamps up on a brass bush, which is this. So what I want to do is remove the screw and round this off so I can get closer to the part without the chuck jaws hitting the holder. Then the problem is, how would you hold the dial indicator? I could put a screw through this side or this side, but it's a very thin wall, so this really needs to be clamped on this end. And what I'm going to do is drill a hole straight through the middle, thread it at this end, put a rod in and a cap head or a grub screw in this end to hold it, and push the rod through, which will clamp onto the dial indicator. A bit like the torsion boring bars that I made. I've taken the brass bush out, and I'll keep that, and what I want to do is reduce the thickness on this end. I've set it up in the chuck, and I just want to reduce the thickness of this on the end. Now I'm just going to go through the hole that used to hold the grub screw on the end there and centre drill this side inside. I need to move the centre drill out a bit more. I'm using this drill because it's an extra long drill, and what I'll do is drill this if I can get straight through, and then open it up this end to suit the rod that I want to use, turn it around in the chuck and just open the hole up. Now that's gone in about 3 3/4 inches and it still hasn't come through the other side, so I'll have to turn the bar around and do a bit from the other side. I've turned the bar around, just centre drill it from this side. Gone in. What I want to do is open it up to this size as deep as I can and then turn it round again and drill the other side. I've pulled the drill out of the chuck a bit more, now I'll re-drill a bit deeper. I've marked my jaws up, so I only undo those two, turn it round, put it back in, tighten those two up. Now hopefully that's gone through enough. Here's the part. I'll just put the bar in. That bar goes straight through the centre of there. Now I'm going to drill a hole for a 5mm thread. This is 4.2 I think. I've done it about 15mm deep. Now I need to tap that 5mm. I'll fit in my spring-loaded tap guide into the tailstock. 5mm tap. And I'll follow that up with the bottoming tap. And I'll return the original grub screw, which was on the other end. It's about halfway in. So now we have a hole all the way through, 5mm tapped hole at the end. And the next job is to make the push rod to go through the centre. So take the rod, put the rod inside just till it comes through on the inside of the bore there and mark the rod with a felt tip or a pen so you know the length, and pull it back a little, hold the grub screw on the end there and mark the length of the grub screw. Then we can cut that off at the shortest length. I've put the rod back in the chuck. I'm just going to clean up the end. I'll just trude the end up, put a chamfer on it. That should be finished. Now assembly. First of all, I need to replace the bush that I've taken out. The slot in the bush needs to be at 90 degrees to the centre hole, so when you clamp the bush it will close up. Just press that down. Insert the rod with the dome touching the end. Then insert the grub screw. Now as I tighten the grub screw up, pushes the rod and it should clamp up on the dial indicator. So this is loose. I'll put the Allen key in the end to turn it a quarter of a turn, and that's tighter. I don't need it any tighter than that. So with the chuck jaws I can get a bit closer to the chuck. Now if I just slacken it off, turn the dial indicator sideways, I can still see the dial indicator from the side. Now I can bring it a lot closer to the chuck, which I couldn't do before because this would have hit the jaws. You can just turn it, slacken the off again, turn it round, lock it up. Oh well, that's it for today. It's another job done. I hope it was interesting, hope it was useful. We'll see you next time on Enots Engineering.